Apollo Water concerning the illegal barricades. They're still up, and there's no end in sight. In the meantime, cottage and homeowners are stopped from protecting their property before winter. Hunters are being stopped from hunting, and even our winter roads may not be constructed, all because of the incompetence of this government. So I ask the Minister of Justice, when will the barricades come down?
The Honourable Minister of Conservation.
Mr. Speaker, it's been made abundantly clear to this member that we're just not going to tell the RCMP how to do their job. The RCMP have a lot of experience with dealing with these sorts of situations. The RCMP know what their role is. We're not going to tell them to go in and take down the barricades, no matter how many times the member for Lac du Bonnet gets up in this House and crows about it. We're just not going to do that, Mr. Speaker. We're going to continue to work to make sure those barricades come down. We're going to continue to work with...
Order.
We're going to continue to work to enable cottagers to go in and winterize their cabins. We're going to do all those things, Mr. Speaker, without making the mistake of listening to the member for Lac du Bonnet.
The honourable member for Lac du Bonnet.
Mr. Speaker, the illegal barricades could cause millions of dollars in damages to homeowners and cottage owners, to our tourist industry, and to isolated Aboriginal communities on the east side of Lake Winnipeg. And now, Mr. Speaker, now to the only paper mill we have in Manitoba. The illegal barricades are impeding wood supplies from reaching the Tembec paper mill in Powerview Pine Falls. So I ask the Minister of Justice, who will pay for the millions of dollars in damages? Who's going to pay for the increased cost for Tembec?
The Honourable Minister of Conservation.
You know, Mr. Speaker, this is typical of the folks across the way. On the very day that Tembec accomplishes something as positive of getting accredited by an internationally known forestry certification group, he takes the negative path. You know, if there's a fork in the road, member for Lac du Bonnet should just take one.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, I'd suggest he looks at the positive side of this with Tembec, because they are a very important employer in our province. They are a very important and good manager of our forests, and we need to work with them to strengthen that company, not carp on all the negative stuff. The
honourable member for Lac du Bonnet.
Speaker, the paper production industry in Canada is tenuous at best because of the effects of the high Canadian dollar and low paper prices. The supply of wood is dwindling due to the illegal barricades, and this has simply increased costs to Tembec. Close to 300 residents of Powerview Pine Falls depend on Tembec to support their families. So I ask the Minister of Justice or the Minister of Conservation or anyone who wants to get up over there, the barricades have to come down. Will he do his job before this NDP government's incompetence leads to massive job losses in our community?
The Honourable Minister of Conservation.
I would refer the member for Lac du Bonnet to my first answer and the answer of the Premier and the answer of the Minister of Justice. We've been consistent on this. We've been very consistently saying that we're not going to tell the RCMP how to do their job. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that when I meet with Tembec, one of the things they say to me over and over and over again, that one of the real advantages here in Manitoba is the low cost of energy that they need to provide those jobs in this province. The low cost of hydro. Where do members stand when it comes to hydro, Mr. Speaker? And how would that impact Tembec if they had their way and they sold the company?